Good evening, all. We'll start in a couple of minutes. So let's wait for the others to join. All right, let's continue with the practice. I want you to take these screenshots of these questions. So please take the screenshot of this passage and the questions. The questions, question number 1 to 10. First one, please take the screenshots. Question number 1. Okay, first read the passage and then I'll be presenting questions one by one to you. Take the screenshot of the passage and then keep it in, keep it with you. Start reading that passage. I'll be showing you one question at a time, and then you should solve those questions. Okay. It's already shared. Yeah, Shantanu. That Bank of Passages is a very large bank. It's an international bank. Thousands of passages. So you don't want to withdraw from that bank. Yeah, you do as much practice as you can with the available passages. So all the resources available are picked from the same bank. So obviously it doesn't matter which source you go to. So everything is picked from those sources only. So if you can practice around 150, 200 passages, that should put you into the groove of this exam, and then you can answer anything confidently. Okay, if you're taking 10 tests, let's say, so you are practicing already some 100 passages, and 100 more passages would be fine. Okay, you have to stick to the process strategy. All right, you would have read the passage by now, all of you. So I'll just show you some important points here. First sentence of the passage gives you the essence of how the passage will be. So you should read that very carefully. So if you begin with the first sentence, it says, results from recent studies cite two developments to defend the existing major studies on nitrogen fixation. So there he's going to talk about two developments which defend the existing studies on nitrogen fixation. So that support the studies on nitrogen fixation. And after the comma, he is defining what nitrogen fixation is, comma, a system by which bacteria symbiotically render leguminous plants independent of nitrogen fertilizer. Okay. So one development. So what are those two developments? One development is the cost of nitrogen fertilizer. The other development, stupendous growth of information and technical sophistication in genetic engineering. Okay. So two developments which defend the existing major studies on nitrogen fixation. That is the major point actually. And then he mentioned how they, what those developments are and how they defend the existing studies on nitrogen fixation. All right. Now, rest of it is all the technical things. Technical, I mean, information is given about nitrogen fixation, what that process is, how it is done, which types of plants, what types of bacteria, all that is given. And you can see the author's opinion coming in the last paragraph, in the last few sentences. Okay. Unless they succeed, what happens? This poses an additional formidable challenge. All these are author's opinions. Regrettably, much of the major food crops, including millets, etc. So this is regrettably is another word which is author's opinion, author's viewpoint. Okay. So the last paragraph, more or less, is about author's viewpoint regarding this. Okay. So if any question is asked about author's agreement, author's opinion, then you have to immediately come to this particular paragraph. Okay. Now, question number 1. The primary purpose of the passage is to solve this question. Give me the answer. Yeah, correct. Shantanu, correct. Sarang, correct. Manasi, correct. Dhanashri, correct. Please keep your settings to all panelists, all of you. Yeah, most of the times it depends on the first line, first sentence, and last sentence. First para, first sentence, last para, first and last sentences. Nikhil, correct. Samyak, correct. Sarth, check your answer. So you have to differentiate between the minor point and the main point. What is the purpose of writing this? Yes, correct. Sarth. Now it is correct. A is saying expose the fragile nature of the foundations on which the high yields of modern agriculture rest. So is the author trying to talk about the foundations that is he saying that the modern agriculture is very weak? That's not the purpose of writing this, right? Second one is saying argue that genetic engineering promises to lead to even higher yields than are achievable with synthetic fertilizers. This is one point, okay? This is one point which is true. Genetic engineering promises to lead to even higher yields than are achievable with synthetic fertilizers. Second one is argue that the capacity for nitrogen fixing symbiosis is transferable to non-leguminous plants. This is also true from the last paragraph. So if something is true from the one paragraph or one sentence, if it is true, that need not be the main purpose why the passage is written. Okay. The main purpose is why this passage is written. That is given in the very first sentence that there are two developments which defend the current research. So there is a lot of research going on nowadays on the nitrogen fixation. And why is that? So this passage is trying to address why so much of research is going on nowadays on the nitrogen fixation. And this passage is defending it. The author is defending it by citing two developments. One is technological developments. The second one is the increasing costs of the fertilizers. So you can go with D option. This passage is talking about nitrogen fixation symbiosis. Explain the reasons for and the objectives of current research on nitrogen fixing symbiosis. This is okay. Now let's see, describe the nature of the genes that regulate the symbiosis between legumes and certain bacteria. So the entire passage is not talking about the genes. Okay. Maybe there is a mention of gene somewhere. Okay. So that distinguish between the main point and the minor points. Okay. Major point and the minor points and the purpose. Purpose is always why the passage is written. Okay. And now somebody asked a question. If we see last line, isn't it opposite to how the passage started? Let's read the last sentence. Unless they succeed, the yield gains of the green revolution will be largely lost, even if the genes in legumes that equip those plants to enter into a symbiosis with nitrogen fixers are identified and isolated, and even if the transfer of those gene complexes, once they are found, becomes possible. Okay. The overall task looks forbidding, but the stakes are too high not to undertake it. So this sentence is clearly saying that we cannot stop from undertaking the risks. Even if it is forbidding, we have to go ahead and do this research, meet this challenge. So it is going in line with the defending the studies of nitrogen fixation. It's not denying it. It's not opposite. The overall task looks forbidding. That is negative. But he himself is saying in the same sentence, but the stakes are too high not to undertake it. That means any fruits that we had because of the green revolution will be lost if we don't do this. So we got to do this, and the stakes are too high not to undertake it. That means the challenges are too many that we will definitely undertake it. That is the meaning of it. So that's in the same note. They are not opposite. Right. So go to the question number 2. This is a very easy one. If you find the right location. According to the passage, there is currently no strain of Rhizobium that can enter into a symbiosis with. So this is a direct question. So which of them does not get into a symbiosis with the strain of Rhizobium? We need to pick only one answer. When 5 options are given, only one answer. Yeah, Sarang correct, Shantanu correct, Nikhil, Nandini, Aditya correct. This is a very easy question, right? So you can read this line. There is a specific strain of Rhizobium for each species of legume. The leguminous plants among them crop plants such as lentils, lupines, peanuts, and clovers have solved the nitrogen supply problem by entering into a symbiotic relationship with the bacterial genus Rhizobium. So if you read this sentence, which of the 5 options is not mentioned here? Which crop is not mentioned? That should be our answer. Which of these is not mentioned as entering into symbiosis with Rhizobium strain? Yes. Sarth, correct. Aditya, correct. Devna, correct. Manasi, yes. So clearly, lentil is mentioned, lupines are mentioned, peanuts are mentioned, clover, clover was mentioned. So what is not mentioned should be our answer. So what is not mentioned is maize. So C option is correct. Question number 3. This takes a little bit of time, but try to take each and every statement from the options and then see if it is true or not from the passage. The passage implies, that means it is not directly given. The passage implies that which of the following is true of the bacterial genus Rhizobium. Yes, Sarang, Nikhil, Dhwani, Aditya, correct. Okay, let's look at this. The passage implies with that which of the following is true of the bacterial genus Rhizobium. So what did he say about genus Rhizobium? Where do you find that information? In the second paragraph, right? The leguminous plants have solved the nitrogen supply problem by entering into a symbiotic relationship with the bacterial genus Rhizobium. As a matter of fact, there is a specific strain of Rhizobium for each species of legume. The host plant supplies the bacteria with food and a protected habitat and receives surplus ammonia in exchange. Hence, legumes can thrive in nitrogen depleted soil. Okay. So this is the area where you can focus. And from this, you have to derive which one is implied there. Implied means something that you understand, is it not? Okay. So let's look at that. So the first option is saying what? The Rhizobium bacteria are found primarily in nitrogen depleted soils. So this word primarily is saying that mainly here. Just because they enter into symbiotic relationship with that doesn't mean that primarily they are available there. So that is a distortion. Some strains of Rhizobium are not capable of entering into a symbiosis with any plant. I don't know about any plants. I cannot answer this from this passage's information. So it is given that some of the, there is a specific strain of Rhizobium for each leguminous plant. Okay. So from that information, can I say that some strains are not capable of entering into symbiosis with any plant? Can I understand that? So any plant, I do not know. That is too much from that information. Okay. Newly bred varieties of legumes cannot be hosts to any strain of Rhizobium. This is clearly wrong. Because he said for each leguminous plant, there is specific strain of Rhizobium. Then D option is saying Rhizobium bacteria cannot survive outside the protected habitat provided by host plants. Now it is said there that host plants provide them with food and protected habitat. Okay, that means a safe environment is provided at the same time. There is supply of food also from the host plant. So does that mean that they cannot survive outside the protected habitat? Then when they are not getting into the symbiotic relationship with it, where were they? They were outside the habitat, right? They were outside the host plants only. So they existed. So it is for the host plant's benefit that it is entering into symbiotic relationship, which means it can exist outside on its own, but the host plant cannot. So who cannot survive? It is the plant that cannot survive without the Rhizobium bacteria, not the vice versa. Bacteria is already there. Okay. Now option E, Rhizobium bacteria produces some ammonia for their own purposes. This is the correct one because in that sentence given there, it is said that there is surplus ammonia in exchange. What is the meaning of surplus? That means extra. So the host plant supplies the bacteria with food and a protected habitat and receives surplus ammonia in exchange. That means not everything that is, that is produced by Rhizobium bacteria is given to the plant. Not everything is provided to the plant. Only the surplus ammonia is provided. Surplus means what? Extra. So after it uses the ammonia for itself, the rest of the balance is provided to the plant. All right. So you have to derive the information. You have to check, are there any extreme words in the answers? Is it what he means? Is this what it means? Can I derive this? So implied means it is indirect, what you derive from the given information. So you have to check all these words. Okay. So option E is correct. I hope you understood. Those of you gave different answers. Manasi, Samyak, Shantanu, Sardh. How you should derive the information. Okay. How you should draw it. All right. Go to the next question. Question number 4. This is also an inference question, indirect. Go to the relevant area where the information lies and try to think a little bit and then check each and every answer and then pick your answer. Now the question is, it can be inferred from the passage that which of the following was the most influential factor in bringing about intensified research on nitrogen fixation. Multiple answer type. If there are 3 options given to you, it could be 1 answer which is correct, or 2, or all the 3 can be correct. So you have to check each and every answer if it is correct or not. Not 1 out of the 3. It may be 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, or all the 3 out of 3 may be correct. Okay, so you have to consider each choice separately and select all the answers that apply. Multiple answer type. Yes, Sarang, correct. Sarth, correct. Aditya, correct. It's an easy one. From the very first sentence, you can get it. He said 2 developments. What are the 2 reasons? What are the 2 main or influential factors? Yes, Dhwani, correct. Nikhil, correct. Abhishek, correct. Manasi, correct. Shantanu, correct. Sorry, Manasi. Abhishek, check your answers. Is B there? Environmental ill effects of synthetic fertilizers. Is it given? What are the 2 reasons? One is increasing in the natural gas prices. Second one is upgrading of genetic engineering. A and C are correct, not B. Joshi, correct. Samyak, correct. Intensified research. What are the reasons for the research? So, fertilizer costs directly proportionate to the cost of natural gas, huge amounts of which go into the production of fertilizer, will continue to represent a massive and mounting financial burden on modern agriculture, spurring the search for substitutes to synthetic fertilizers. So this is one reason. And genetic engineering is just the sort of fundamental breakthrough that opens up prospects of wholly novel alternatives. One such radical idea is that of inserting into the chromosomes of plant discrete genes that are not a part of the plant's natural constitution. Particularly, the idea of inserting into non-leguminous plants the genes, if they can be identified and isolated, that fit the leguminous plants to be hosts for nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Hence, the intensified research on legumes. So, if you find this particular keyword, hence the intensified research on legumes. The question is also having this word, right? What are the factors, okay, important for the intensified research on legumes? So hence means as a result of the above things. So what are those above things? One is genetic engineering. Second one is the cost of fertilizer costs or the natural gas. So A and C are correct. So this is the location for it. Now go to the next question. This is selecting the sentence in the passage. So give me the wording here, beginning word and the last word of that sentence. Reciprocal advantage between the plants and the rhizobium. Which sentence captures that? Yes, that is the advantage. Most of you got it correct. Let me show you that, the advantage. So reciprocal advantage, that means mutual benefit, is given in this sentence. So what plant gives to bacteria and what bacteria in return gives to the plant. So this is the sentence you have to click on. Okay. So now go to the next question. Question number 6. This is analogy question. Which of the following situations is most closely analogous to the situation described by the author as one of the nature's greater ironies? So he mentioned a situation. Nature's great irony is something he mentioned there in the passage, second sentence of the second paragraph. Read that carefully. Okay. And find out one answer which is similar to that situation, which is analogous. Analogy means similarity. Okay. So read that statement, find out which one is similar to that situation. Yes, Dhwani correct. Joshi correct. Aditya correct. Sarang correct. Manasi correct. Samyak correct. What is the situation in that second sentence of second paragraph? What is the ironical situation he mentioned there? So let's read it. So here it is mentioned, second sentence. It is one of the nature's great ironies that the availability of nitrogen in the soil frequently sets an upper limit on plant growth, even though the plant's leaves are bathed in a sea of nitrogen gas. So it's very obvious for us that environment has 78% of nitrogen. Okay, that means the entire plant is soaking in the sea of nitrogen, but the plant has no nitrogen available to it. Why? Because the availability of nitrogen in the soil is setting the upper limit for the plant. That means even though a lot of nitrogen is available around it, it is helpless. The plant is helpless. So find out a similar situation like this, ironical situation. So we have to pick an answer which is similar in situation with this one. There's a lot of availability, but I cannot utilize that. So option C matches it, that of a shipwrecked sailors at sea in a lifeboat with one flask of drinking water to share among them. Which means there is a lot of water around them, but they can't drink it. But this upper limit is set by the water in the flask. Okay, so C option is similar to the situation mentioned there, ironical situation. Okay, question number 7. Yes, very good. Question number 7. Yeah, I'm getting different answers here. So first of all, be clear with this. Two answers. Strains of Rhizobium. Are they developing? What is their goal? To develop bacteria or the varieties? Is their goal to develop the strains of Rhizobium or varieties of wheat, rice, and other non-legumes? So when you decide these two, they are not trying to develop bacteria. Bacteria is already there. So out of these three options, you have to pick. Some of you picked E as your answer. Now, is this last part correct? This is half correct, half incorrect answer. Is the last part correct? Read carefully. Are they trying to develop the varieties without the aid of bacteria? So that last part is incorrect, right? So it should be option D. Option D is correct. So this is a very dangerous answer, E type, because most of it is correct, but only when you come to the end of it, you will realize that it is incorrect. These are very dangerous. Half correct, half incorrect answers. That is a trap. Okay, question number 8. Quickly. The author regards, I told you about author's opinion. Author regards the research program under discussion as what? How does he feel this research program? So it is about author's personal opinion, which is discussed in the last paragraph. So author's opinion, you must catch that and the tone of it. Yeah, Sarth, Sarang, Joshi, Nandini, Aditya, correct. So this is about author's opinion. As I mentioned before, author has given his personal opinions in the last paragraph. So how does he treat this research program? Does he treat it as an excellent one? Let's read it. So if you can understand his tone in this particular statement. The overall task looks forbidding, but the stakes are too high not to undertake it. That means there is a lot of urgency that you must undertake this one. It is very much important. But at the same time, the task looks forbidding, which means it may not be possible. It may be a failure also. So that kind of a tone prevails in his opinion. So it may be very challenging, but still you have to undertake it. That is the kind of tone. So which answer reflects that tone? That is reflected in option B, necessary and ambitious, but vulnerable to failure. So he did not mention anything about funding, underfunded. Prohibitively expensive, did not talk about expenses. Theoretically fascinating, but practically useless. This is an extreme word. There is no such extremities used there. Okay, so it is option B, necessary and ambitious, but vulnerable to failure. Okay. Now, method also, he did not mention anything about the method. Ill-defined as to the method. Did he mention how it should be done? Ill-defined as to method. No. Achha, for question number 7, the answer is D, Nikhil. D for Delhi. Okay, question number 9. Again, analogy question. So first read the research program mentioned in the passage. What is that they are trying to do? In the last paragraph, you will find what exactly they are trying to do. What is the research about? And then which of these 5 options is a similar research program to the one mentioned in the passage? Shantanu, correct. Yes, Siddhi, correct. It is simple, right? From what is the message in the overall passage? They want to convert the genetic makeup of some non-leguminous plants. By isolating some genes in the leguminous plants, they want to introduce those genes into the non-leguminous plants, so that these non-leguminous plants also fix the nitrogen bacteria. Okay, so it is about genetic engineering. So obviously you have to look for an answer which talks about genes and genetic engineering. So that is mentioned in last 2 options, D or E. Now B is half correct. B, option B, achieve greater yields from food plants. That is fine. But how do they want to do it? That is incorrect here. In this answer, option B, it's okay up to here. They want to achieve greater yields from food plants. Until here, it's okay. Not by interplanting crop plants. This is not the way that they want to do. So this is incorrect. Okay. C is also easy to eliminate. It's not about frost resistance. A similar situation is something like this: change the genetic makeup of food plants that cannot live in water with high salinity using genes from plants adapted to salt water. Okay, so genetic makeup that they want to change. Let's look at E. Develop through genetic engineering a genetic configuration for the major food plants that improves the storage characteristics of the air. This part is not correct. The rest of it is okay. This part is not correct in this answer. Okay, so they want to convert the set of genes from one plant which are adapted to a particular thing, and they want to make the others also adaptable. So that's what they want to try. So it is option B, not E. Is that clear? Yeah, Sarth. It's a similarity, similar situation. These situations are different. Okay, these situations are different. We have to find out a similar one to the one discussed there. What is discussed in the passage? There are leguminous plants, right? Leguminous plants can fix the bacteria for nitrogen. Okay, they want to isolate genes which are responsible for this nitrogen fixation, and they want to introduce those genes into non-leguminous plants and make these non-leguminous plants also fix nitrogen. Thereby it increase the yields. All right, so this is the project. Something which is successful, those genes will be introduced into the non-successful ones and make them successful. So which answer reflects it? A similar situation. Some plants are well suited to salt water. So you isolate the genes from that plant, introduce into those ones which cannot live in the salt water, and then make them adaptable to the saline water. That's it. So it is a similar kind of a project, is it not? Similarity, analogy, situation, similar situation. So it is option D. It is about changing the genes, introducing the genes from successful one into the non-successful one. That is the element. Okay, now the next passage is this one. Quickly read this. Do not focus on understanding everything from the passage, but spend a couple of minutes to understand the major important points. Primary purpose question. Yeah, Samyak, correct. Okay. Most of you are attracted to this answer, option A. So let's read this. Fuller's imaginative works on dance. So what is her works on? They are on dance, not on the lyricism. Reveal the intensity of her determination to create a lyric form of the art which was free of characterization, storytelling, and theatrical. Free of means what? She doesn't want all these things in her lyric forms. Without. She aspired to jettison. That means again, without jettison, the conventional custom. So she wants to do away with the conventions and entrenched vocabularies of such dance forms as ballet, and to explore the more innate sources of human expressiveness. So she wants to dispense with these things. She wants to explore these things. So this she does not want. This she wants. Similarly, these things she does not want in her form. She eschewed. Eschewed means avoided. So this she does not want. Bodily ornamentation, and endeavored to use only the organic movements of her body. So this is what she wants. Undistorted by acrobatic embellishments. Undistorted means and inspired only by. So these things she does not want again. Internal spontaneity she wants. So what she does not want, what she wants. Everything is given here. In her recitals, Fuller danced to the music of Bach, Schubert, and Brahms, amongst others, but contrary to popular beliefs, she made no attempt to visualize or to interpret the music. So that means she doesn't want again visualizing or interpreting the music. Rather, she simply relied on it to provide the inspiration. So this again she wants for articulating inner feelings through movement. She did not regard this use of music as ideal, however. Okay, believing that she should someday dispense with music entirely. So she doesn't want music anytime. But was she successful? No, that day never came that she dispensed with the music. Okay, so it's not about a response to the popular misconception. This passage is not about that. Okay, or belated recognition that she could not actually fulfill all of her ideals for the dance. It's only with respect to music. Concerted efforts to subdue the organic movements of the dance. That is only a minor part actually. Okay, so A and D are close, but D is the correct one. Basic standards for the dance form. So it's about the dance form that she aspired to create and perform. So entire thing is talking about the dance forms, not about the lyric forms. So what is the kind of dance she wants? Okay, so it is option D. Be careful with the first answers. Okay, they might be attractive, but unless you find something better than that, you should search all the answers before you confirm the first answer. Okay, now move to the next question. Question number 2. 11. The author implies that Fuller relied on music in her recitals in order to. This you can understand here. Why did she use music for? So it's given here in this sentence. Yes, correct. Joshi, Manasi, correct. Nandini, Ishika, correct. Anag, check your answer. See, this is not in the, this sentence, this is location is different here. Now, one thing is, did she want organic movements? Yes. Bodily ornamentation, she avoided. Organic movements of her body, yes, she found it. But that's not about music, no? It is about how she danced. It is about the movements of body. Movements of body and music are not different, are different, right? So this question is asking about music. Why did she rely on music in her recitals? She relied on music to do what? To provide the inspiration for articulating inner feelings through movement. Okay, so through the music, she took the help of music only to inspire the inner feelings when she was dancing. So that is given in option C. She is not doing anything to counter the public belief, but people believed something about her. Now this passage is saying contrary to popular belief. That means what? That means as against to what people normally believe, she did this thing. That does not mean that she did these things to counter the popular belief. So this is wrong. You understand, Samyak? Nor is she trying to validate the public belief. She only wants to inspire the inner feelings through music. That's what she is relying on music for, as per this statement. She simply relied on it. It means here music, to provide the inspiration for articulating inner feelings. Question number 12. Except question. According to the passage, Fuller intended to develop an art form that would do all of the following except. So what is that she wants to do and what is that she does not want to do? So we already understood from the passage what she wants in her dance form, what she does not want in her dance form. So from your reading, you should be able to understand. And then except what? So except means one of them is not used in her art form. Which one? 4 of these are used. One of them is not used. Yes, Anag, Aditya, Joshi, correct. Nikhil, check your answer. She doesn't use acrobatic embellishments. That is correct. Now we want something which she does not do. What she does not. What she doesn't do. This she does, is it not? Even here. Undistorted by acrobatic embellishments. So she doesn't do it. So this is a characteristic of her art form. She does not use acrobatic embellishments. She derives inspiration solely from inner feelings. This is also her characteristic. Avoid the use of conventional ballet techniques. This is also her technique. Draw on innate sources of human expressiveness. Yes, this is also her form. Revitalize an earlier entrenched vocabulary. She doesn't use earlier entrenched vocabulary. Actually, he is saying revitalize. This is not correct. She does not want to revitalize. She doesn't use it. So this is something that she does not do. So except B, all others are present in her art form. This passage is small, but it is not very easy to understand. Okay. So you have to quickly read it, try to understand what she wants, what she does not want in her art form. Simply categorize that way and then move on. Question number 13, multiple answer type. Inference question. It can be inferred from the passage that which of the following endeavors is compatible with Fuller's ideals for the dance. So in her ideals for the dance, which of the following 3 can be correct? It can be 1 or 2 or all the 3. Yeah, Dhwani, correct. Manasi, correct. Anag, correct. Shantanu, correct. She does not want characterization, storytelling, and theatrical display of skills. So A and B cover those 2 things, right, in the very first sentence. And she also wants to create a lyric art form by drawing on inner personal resources. That is also correct. So A, B, C, all the three are the ideals of her dance form. So all three are correct. Okay. So from this statement, you can get this. Free of characterization, storytelling, and theatrical display of skills is given in that. Then you can say that, yes, free of. Here also it is given, free the art form of both characterization and minimizing the theatrical display of skills. This is also correct. Minimizing means 0. What is minimum? Minimum means 0. Then C option is saying creating a lyric art form by drawing on inner personal resources. Yes, she wants to go for innate resources. This is also given here. So all three are correct. Next question, question number 14. So this is a different passage again. Keep working on this. Solve the first question. Now it begins. Opening statement says a popular assumption among some researchers of language is that any language is an ideal medium for the expression of ideas of the country speaking it. So this is the popular assumption of the researchers. Now, does the passage say that assumption is correct or incorrect? Here it says the popular assumption is what? Any language is an ideal medium for the expression of ideas. That means any language is perfect. But here it says no language is perfect. So is the popular assumption strengthened or weakened by the end of the passage? It is trying to prove that it is incorrect. So now tell me the answer. What is this passage doing? It is trying to weaken a popular assumption about the language. So which answer? Yes, correct. Siddhi, Manasi, Shantanu, and others. Got it correct. Refute an assumption held by some researchers of language. Refute means reject. Analyze an interesting feature of English language. Now, he's not just trying to talk about English language, he's talking about any language. Economic theory is only an analogy. So this is not about economics at all. Illustrations means examples. Do you write a passage to give examples? You write a passage to explain some concept with examples. What is the concept? Not the examples. Did he suggest any way in which the languages can be made perfect? He said no language is perfect. He didn't offer any suggestions to make them perfect. So here ends it. So there are no suggestions for improvement of the languages. Therefore, option B is the correct one. Question number 15. Analogy question again. Similar to means analogy. So the misunderstanding presented by the author in the second last sentence is similar to which of the following? So what is the misunderstanding here? Here you can find. What is the misunderstanding? He took his umbrella. No, not Ben's, but his own. So what is the listener confused about? The usage of this word his. So which is why he explained it. No, not Ben's umbrella, but his own umbrella. So what is the confusion about? The confusion is about this word his. So it is a pronoun. So pronoun confusion is expressed in this option A. This is not a pronoun. This is not a gender question. So there is no gender confusion here. There is no word confusion here. It's only a pronoun confusion. So pronoun confusion is mentioned in option A. So that should be our answer. Okay, question number 16. Except question. What is that the author is not doing in this passage? Out of these 5, he has done 4. One of them he did not do. What is that he didn't do? Find out. Observe the style. Yes, Shantanu, Ananya, correct. Manasi, correct. What is a generalization? From one thing you apply that to all. If one auto wala cheated you, you say that all auto walas are cheaters. So that is a generalization. You apply something to everyone. That is a generalization. Here also he gave example of English language, but he generalized it to all languages. He said that no language is perfect. That's a generalization. But example, did he give all languages? No. So from one specific example, he generalized it to all languages. So there is a generalization used here. So we have to find out what style is not used by the author. He gave an example also. He gave example, so this is not my answer. He has drawn a conclusion. He's made a generalization. He made a comparison also to economic theory. So the one that he did not do is option E. He compared language with economic theory, right? So there is a comparison also. And he used the word here, equivalent. It is in some ways the exact equivalent of, means similar to, same as. So he made a comparison. Joshi, you get it? So he made a comparison. He gave example here. This is the example. Okay. And this is a generalization. Okay. And he's drawing a conclusion also finally. So it is option E. Paradox means, what is a paradox? Paradox is a contradiction. Paradox means a contradiction. And what is contradiction? Let us see. He is deaf. He is deaf and dumb. But he can communicate. So if somebody is deaf and dumb, how can he communicate? This is a contradiction, right? So there should be a, so that means if people have no ears and ears, starting sentence is contradicted in that, not that kind of refutation is not contradiction. So contradiction should be in the same sentence. If I say even though it is perfect, it is imperfect, then that is a contradiction, paradox. This is not contradiction. This is refutation, rejection. I ate a lot of food, but I am hungry. This is a paradox. How can somebody be hungry if he is eating a lot? Next. Question number 17. Which of the following contributes to the misunderstanding? What is contributes to the misunderstanding means? What is the reason for the misunderstanding? Which of the following contributes to the misunderstanding described by the author in the second last sentence? What is the reason for misunderstanding in this sentence? Which one is confusing? First time when is used, is it confusing, or second time? When was it not understood? First time, then only he had to use it second time. His own. Second time it is clear. But the misunderstanding came when it is used for the first time, his umbrella. So it is option B, not C. Some of you have taken C, but C is saying that it is unclear to whom the word his refers the second time. It is very clear. Second time it is used his own. First time it is confusing. His umbrella means whose umbrella? That is not understood. Therefore, he had to say, no, not Ben's, but his own. So first time his is used here. Second time it is used here. This is confusing. Therefore, he had to clear that by using this one. Okay. So the question is asking which of the following leads to misunderstanding. So what is the reason? Option B. Okay. So let's solve one more set of questions. That I'll share with you now. So please wait for me. Okay. So this is the passage. Yes, Aditya, very good. Nikhil, correct. Why are the humanities not getting their due as the other science streams are getting? Why are they not getting due respect? Because he is giving the reasons here. Because they deal with something that people are aware of, people know it, the concepts, psychology, history, economics, all these are regular things. Okay, so people understand them quite easily. Okay, and other reason is overutilization. So this passage is talking about the reasons for the disregard of the humanities. Even though it is solving all the problems, it is disregarded and people are using it. So that's now which answer reflects that? Now is the author anywhere saying that it has to be utilized less? Look at the last sentence. Decision makers rightly feel that even tentative findings and untested theories are better guides to passing resolutions than no findings and no theories at all. Okay, that means tentative findings. So even if it is tentative, you have to test them, which means you have to use them practically. So he's not asking for less widespread utilization. This is wrong. Analyzing the mechanisms. Did he anywhere talk about the mechanisms for translating discoveries into applications? He gave an example of a game theory. Game theory is not a mechanism, it is an example. So it is option D, explaining a dilemma that the humanities are in. What is the dilemma? People are using it, at the same time they don't have the regard as the sciences have it. That is the dilemma that they are in. So that explanation is given. Explain means what? He is giving the reasons. Nowhere did he say anything about pure and applied humanities, separating pure and applied humanities. Okay. Question number 2. It's an easy one. Direct question. Yeah, Aditya, correct. Read the second paragraph. Overutilization. Manasi, correct. So overutilization examples, where did he give? So one is game theory. Second one is evaluation research. Third one is economics demography. Okay. So it is not economic theory of international alliances. It is game theory of international alliance. So game theory is given as an example of overutilization. So B option is correct. Now D option looks like an answer, but actually only the first two words are correct. But rest of the two words, international alliances, is given as part of game theory, not as part of economics. And economics is used in what? To examine the financial base of social security. So you must check the entire answer. Don't just be attracted by one word. Read the entire answer. All right. There is no mention of decision making theory anywhere. Okay. So it is option B, which is overutilized. Now go to next question. Question number 3. Inference question. Read all the answers carefully and then decide your answer. So what does he mean by overutilization? Does he mean to say that people who don't know about it are, or people who don't fully understand them are using it? Does he mean that by overutilization? By overutilization, he means to say that it is applied in almost every field that we know. That is the, intention of the author when he said overutilization. Not that it is used by people who do not fully understand them. So you can eliminate option D. This is easy to eliminate. E also. He is saying as if they are bringing something forcibly into which it is not required. Bringing a greater variety of humanities disciplines to bear on a problem than the nature of the problem warrants. So that means even though the problem does not require the humanities disciplines, they are bringing it. That's not overutilization. It is into the relevant fields that they are used, but they are used more. Okay. So you can look at the last part. Decision makers rightly feel that tentative findings and untested theories are better guides to passing resolutions. That means even though they are tentative and untested, at least you are basing on something, basing your conclusion on something rather than nothing, which means he believes that people are using it more even on the basis of some tentative conclusions, tentative findings, and untested theories, which means premature practical application of the theories of humanities. That is the correct matching answer for it. Premature is the right word because the word tentative, untested theories, they are basing their decisions on the untested theories and tentative findings, which means this overutilization means that here it is used even before the full-fledged theories are coming into existence. Okay, so he does not mean to say common sense would be enough. Okay, B option is a he does not mean to say that. So you can does he mean to say that you can base your decisions on common sense rather than on theories? So even if they are untested theories, still you should base your decisions on some theories or the other rather than no theories at all. That's what the last sentence says. Now again, the question is asking about author's personal preference or opinion. So you have to go to the author's remarks. Okay, question number 4. The author confronts the claim that the humanities are being overutilized with what? Is he in favor of overutilization or not? Again, read the last sentence, you will understand. So does he believe that these applications of humanities are perfectly appropriate? Then why would he say that they are based on tentative findings and untested theories? So he does not believe this. Yes, Sarang, correct. This is again one more extreme answer, B option. Evidence that some public policy is made without any recourse to humanities findings or theories. So in this statement, He is saying that decision makers rightly feel that tentative findings and tested theories are better guides than no findings. So is overutilization an evidence that some of the policies are made without any findings or theories? No. Overutilization means they are doing, that is an evidence that they are doing with regards to some findings and theories. They are using more of these findings and theories. That's not without any recourse to. Okay. It is not an exception. It is done habitually, regularly done. Rush, because he said rush into practical applications. So it's not an exception. It is a rule which is followed in every discipline. Okay. So why did he say that it should be used? E option is correct. Lesser of two evils. In the present circumstances, what are those two evils? Either you have to depend on partial theories or no theories. And decision makers rightly feel that at least something is better than nothing. Even something is also bad, but it is at least better than nothing. So that's what he said in the last sentence, lesser of two evils. So untested theories and tentative findings are better guides than no findings and no theories at all, which means it is better than, something is better than nothing. So lesser of two evils, option D. That's how he confronted the claim of overutilization. Overutilization is accepted by the author as lesser of the two evils. Something is better than nothing. Okay. So you can take the screenshot of this passage as homework. All of you, please take it as homework. And when we meet next time, we'll look at the answers, or you can send them to me. Take these questions quickly. Done? Yes, somebody put me, you have taken. Question number 5. Done? Question number 6. Question number 7. Question number 8. Question number 9. All right. So that's for your homework. See you in the next class with some other topic. All right. We'll continue our practice. Until then, take care. Keep practicing. And I shared my number with you. So if you got any doubts in the things that you are practicing, you can post them to my number immediately on WhatsApp, so we can discuss. All right. Okay, then take care. Bye bye. That's all for today. I think we can, Joshi. but I'll convey this. I'll convey this to the Acha. Yeah, we can. That's just 1 week you missed. Acha, electricity issues also. Okay. All right, we can do that. Yeah, you can watch the recordings also, Joshi. There is another alternative. You can watch the recordings on the website in case you missed any. Acha, you did not miss. It is for the sake of others you are asking. Okay, more practice. Okay, we'll do that. I mean, in case you are practicing, as I mentioned, this is a natural course that that will take its place. Okay, so but in case you want any extra things, you can do with me. No problem. Keep sending. Okay. Chalo. Take care. Bye bye.